53-year-old condemned killer who killed here in Jacksonville, Mark Asay, could very well be living his final hours right now. Unless the Supreme Court intervenes, which is unlikely, he will be executed at 6 o'clock tonight.
So he was convicted almost 30 years ago of two racially motivated murders just hours apart near downtown. Asay spoke exclusively to Tom Wills, who's joining us now live in the studio. Tom, good morning to you. So Asay says that he is innocent of one of those murders.
Think of what it's like to sit down with somebody who looks across the table at you and says, oh, yes, I killed. Yes, I shot a man to death, yes.
But your purpose here was not to put him on trial.
No, it was not. It was to give him an opportunity to tell his story. He says he's never been a racist, but in his first and only interview, he admitted to me he is guilty of the second killing, but says he does not deserve to die. Asay wishes he could plead guilty to second-degree murder and be released with time served. Asay has been on death row for 3 decades. He told me he wants freedom or death, not another day in prison. A stay of execution, he says, will only keep him locked up longer. What do you do every day?
Well, every day is just a repeat of the last. You know, you do stuff, you try to pass the time, but it's not comfortable. You just press through. You know, what kept me going was I believed that maybe someday this would be resolved in my favor.
You know, there's fear that if you were let out, you might do the same thing again.
Of course. I've witnessed it myself. I've seen people get out of prison and repeat the offense. There's no question about that. That fear comes true all too often. But by the same token, people treat that proposition as though they've never heard of a first-time offender. You know, there's people running around on the street now who have never been in trouble with the law, who are about to commit a violent crime. You see, so that argument, you know, is a bit specious, you know, but I do believe that people need to have some sort of rehabilitation. They need to be made to face the truth about how they behaved and how their behaviors impacted society. I never, ever in my life owned a gun until June 12th, 1987. And 35 days later, I shot somebody with it. You know, and all I'm saying is having it is the opportunity to use it, which is the opportunity to spend the rest of your life in prison because of it. So don't do it. Leave it at home.
Yes, Asay is anti-gun. Barring a last-minute reprieve, excuse me, he will be executed by lethal injection at 6 o'clock this evening at Florida State Prison. He would be the first white to be put to death for murdering a black in state history.
So it's interesting because obviously there's the other side of this also, Tom. I mean, what does the prosecutor say, Bernie de la Rianda, in this?
Well, I asked him to comment on Asay's desire to plead guilty to second-degree murder and be released from prison for time served, and he had said he had no comment. He said he might say something later in the week. He also told me that if this execution goes forward, which appears inevitable now, that he is going to go and witness the execution. And, you know, one of the corrections officers told me that he believes that Asay is a changed man. But that does not take away from the fact that when he was 23 years old, according to the state of Florida, he was a homicidal maniac who killed 2 people for no reason at all. Not that there is ever a sufficient reason for killing somebody, but they convinced the jury successfully that this was a racially motivated murder, even though it turns out one of the victims, Robert McDowell, excuse me, was not a light-skinned black. He was white or Hispanic. But there's also the suggestion that Asay killed him because he's a transvestite, Renee, on the streets.
Right. Let me ask you, he says that he didn't kill Booker, and it's on that basis that he wants to go back to court. Is this an alternate reality that he believes? Because I know ballistics backs up the fact that he did.
Well, the ballistics is a whole nother argument, okay? They convinced the jury, this was the evidence at the time, the ballistic evidence at the time, that they believed that both men, both McDowell and Booker, were killed with bullets fired from the same gun. But now, in modern times, there's some question as to whether or not you can actually prove that. If you took 6 of the same guns, manufactured at the same times, and fired the bullets, it would look like they all came from the same gun, even though they came from 6 different guns. He hangs his hat on that there is not conclusive proof that he killed Booker. However, their testimony in the trial of things that he did and said prior to shooting Booker.
We've been around for a long time, the three of us, and we have literally seen it all. Yet we do an interview like this, and you walk away with something that surprises you or stuns you.
It surprised me how articulate Asay was, how deep he clearly is. He's well-read. He must be well-read. How thoughtful he was. In fact, one of the corrections officers who spent a lot of time with him told me that he believes Asay is a changed man. And while I have a few minutes here, I have to say something about the corrections employees that I met at Florida State Prison. Professional, courteous. I watched them treat Asay with respect, respecting his dignity, recognizing him as another human being.
Compassion?
Compassion, yes. And one of them actually volunteered to me that people ask him, he deals with people like Asay, condemned prisoners like Asay. It's his job, year after year after year. How do you treat these people who have done these terrible things with dignity and respect? And he said, I put it out of my mind. I put it aside. I mean, this is a double murder in Asay's case, but there are also people on death row who killed children after raping them.
Or killed behind bars.
Or killed behind bars. How do you treat them with dignity and respect? But this corrections officer is a professional, and he puts that aside. That's not his job to punish or to judge. His job is to tend to these inmates to the best of his ability.
Yes, correctional officers. Tom Wells, thank you so much. And of course, you can watch Tom's extended interview with Asay by going to our website. You'll also find a slideshow of images from his day at the Florida State Prison. Just look on the homepage of news4jax.com. And we should mention we'll also have live reports from outside the state prison starting at 5 o'clock on News4Jax.